Hello, my fellow commuters. Hello, my fellow computers. Hello, my fellow commuters. This is episode 5 of the pod. Just recovering from that disastrous New Year's episode. If you guys watched that, I kind of hope you didn't. It was a nightmare. But I really wanted to put it out, so I did it anyway with the camera falling and all. So if anyone actually watches that, I am sorry for the quality, but I hope you enjoyed it all the same. So yeah, welcome to another commute. I hope you guys are having a good day. I hope all your commutes are going well. And if you're not commuting, then I hope you're enjoying the relaxation at home or anywhere else you might be. Yeah, I am doing good. I'm recording this about midweek. It's been slower at work lately, which has been nice, but also torturous. You guys know, like, when it's slow at work, it's kind of just like makes the time go on forever. Like the day just seems to never end. Like just keeps dragging on and on. Like it's just torture, and that's kind of been what work has been like for me lately. It's just been like a little bit busy here and there, but just overall just sitting there just waiting for it to end, which has been kind of a nightmare. But it kind of leads into what this episode is about, which, as you know from the title, is immortality. And it kind of coincides with some of the things I've talked about before, but I just wanted to yap about it for a bit because I've been thinking about it more and more lately, about just like life in general and what it's like. And I feel like immortality is a really interesting concept, and one that humanity has been fascinated with for probably since we have had conscious thought, at least. Because yeah, like, you know, who wouldn't want to live forever, right? You know, at a base value, if you really think about it, like, no one wants to die, right? And dying is an inevitable thing. Every single person who has ever been born will die one day. But what if you didn't, right? What if you stayed alive forever and kept living? And, you know, yeah. And it's a weird thing to me. And my opinion has changed about it a lot over the years. You know, if you had asked me when I was like a kid, obviously, yeah, please let me live forever. Oh my God, I'm so scared of dying, all that stuff. But lately, this is not a new opinion, I don't think. You know, when I first heard of it, like my opinion, which is that I think it would be a nightmare to live forever, I was shocked by it. You know, and it's funny enough, the first time I heard it, I think was when Markiplier mentioned it. In one of his playthroughs. I have no idea what he was playing, but he talked about it and how it would kind of be a nightmare to live forever. And I was like, no, I would love to, I don't care. But now that I've grown up and lived more of life, I'm like, yeah, it would be a nightmare. And I just think it would be awful because, you know, so much of our existence is critically linked to the fact that we're going to die. Like, the fact that we can enjoy things at all and everything is because it's finite, right? Like many, many things at a face value are fun because you don't get to do it forever. Like, it's a very complicated thing to explain. I'm trying to figure out a way to explain it. I guess an analogy I can have, which is one that's very close to me and I think I've used before, is like the reason for some people, I guess not everyone, but I think everyone, if you had, 12 hours a day to play video games every day, would you not eventually get bored? Is it as special? Is it as fun if you just have the free time to do it because you have unlimited time, apparently, let's say? Would you play video games that whole time, or would you just get bored and stop? And for me, like that literally happened. Like in college, I had so much time to play video games. I did not care about my school as much as I should have, and I had way too much time to play games. I played games for 8, 9, 10 hours a day, every day. And eventually got to a point where I was just bored, and I didn't realize it. I'm like, why am I not having fun? Why do I not want to play another game? Why do I not want to do this? Had so many excuses, but it really was the fact that it wasn't special anymore because I had so much time. There was nothing binding it together in a way, I guess. Like, whereas now I have so much more free time, but still not much. But if I play a game for an hour, 2, 3, it's like the best time ever. And with life, it's like that. Like when you get to go out with your friends after a long time, it's so much more fun than if you see them every single day. Or if you get to have a food you never get to have, it tastes so much better because just of that time, right? But if you have it all, then it's kind of like a nightmare. It's like you run out of things, right? And like I think though another thing I've been thinking about lately too is like it kind of like a sense of immortality, like an invincibility, I guess, also applies to like money too. Like, you know, we all know about billionaires and all these, how they're all fucking crazy, and a lot of celebrities are fucking crazy, and everyone who gets money ends up going crazy. And like, I don't know this for sure, I'm not a psychologist or anything by any means, but the root cause of it all is that you lose your grasp of reality, right? You lose your purpose, essentially, like with that money and the invincibility that comes with it, essentially. You know, you're invincible to worrying about so many things that you were worrying about, and you know, it's gonna drive most people crazy, you know, unless you have a very simple view of life and the world at large. Like, it's gonna make you lose it, like, no matter what. Like, you know, if you're one of those people that can wake up every single day and do the same thing every single day and genuinely love it, one, God, I wish I could be like you. But two, like, that's great, then you're perfect for that, you know. But those people also, the problem is too, are the ones who never end up becoming that successful or having that much money or anything, because, you know, they don't have a drive to change their life because they're content with it, right? And so when you gain that much after striving for it so long, if you're not that individual, if you're that person who's passionate and wants to strive for success, and you get it, you lose it because you lost all your purpose and it lost all meaning, you know? And so immortality, essentially, in my mind, is the exact same thing. Like, you know, without death, like, life is just an endless nightmare. Like, and let's say sorry, I don't know if my jacket's gonna be a problem. Hopefully not. But let's say it's the immortality where you just don't die and you don't have a choice. Like if you drink a magic potion, you cannot die. Like, you literally can't die. That's like a nightmare. Like, because, you know, we say that it's a small world, right? We say that the world is small, especially now because of the internet. We can see so many more things in the corners of the world, but it really is true. Like, the world is huge in ways, yes. And if you're living a normal life, like, you can see, like, if you're living a normal life, the amount of the world you will see is pretty small, you know, and there's so much to see and do, and that has so much value, and the scale of that is crazy, you know, and the amount of time we have is actually very long. And I've said this before, the amount of time we live actually in a day-to-day basis is very long. But if you take away the fact that we live 80 years or 70 years or whatever the average is right now, and you extend it to whenever, like, and you have no consequence for any of your actions, like, you will run out of things to do extremely fast. You will run out of things to do extremely quickly. Like, if I woke up tomorrow and I, like, could not die and I could do whatever I wanted, like, you just run out of things to do, like, instant, like, within years, maybe less than a decade, you're done. You've done everything there is to do. And so what else do you do? Like, you know, like, human beings and life, as far as we know in general, like, you know, a conscious life, like, needs a purpose, or your brain breaks, because, like, the fact that we think means we also overthink, and we think about everything, and if you live forever, oh my God, like, I can't even imagine what would happen to the brain of that person who was eternally alive. Like, does it collapse? Does it just stop working? Does it freeze? Does it break down? Like, is there a brain death technically? Like, I don't know, man. It sounds like an awful existence, right? Unless you're someone who just enjoys every day and can wake up and just never wants it to end. But I wonder, like, part of me wonders if that type of person are the ones who have the midlife crises and stuff, right? The ones who realize they didn't do anything with their lives at the end of it. Like, they're near death and like, holy shit, I did nothing in my life, and all these regrets come at that time, right? So I wonder what's worse, you know, being ignorant your whole life and then finding out later, or not being ignorant at the beginning and just losing your mind. I don't know what's worse, honestly. It all sounds just bad. And yeah, I would not want to be immortal. Like, it would just be, yes, you could see so much more and you wouldn't miss things, but the value of it all would just go away. And you would start to not value human life anymore, because like objectively at that point, you are the main thing. If you're the only person that's immortal, you're like the main character. So the people around you would matter even less than they already do to the average person. Most people live their lives not thinking about everyone else. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that's just natural. Like, I think it's something you can't escape, because if you're someone who's actually genuinely empathetic to every single person around you and person you meet and everything, you would die from depression and everything, because, life is very harsh. And if you care about every single person, you will not survive. So, you would just be even more selfish, and if you're immortal, and you would lack any more connection to people and regular life too, because that's an important factor too. Like, a normal life in general would probably be happier, because like it's just like there's structure, and you can be ignorant to certain things, like certain things you can be ignorant to, certain things you can't, obviously, but the ones you're ignorant to, like it will preserve your mental health and stability for longer, right? Whereas if you live forever, it's just like you have to think about it all the time. But then again, I don't know, would it take away, would living forever take away that introspective thought? And would it take away thinking about all those things, death and the afterlife and what happens to the universe, all these things when we die? Would it take it away because like you're gonna know? I guess like you're never gonna die, so I guess you don't have to think about it anymore. And maybe your life maybe you could become even more ignorant. I mean, you do technically, because like that is what unites every person and everything that lives on this planet, is that they die, right? Like, and so now you're disconnected. You're one of a kind. You're one of a kind. You're disconnected from every single other thing and person that lives here. So yeah, I guess you would become more ignorant, though. Maybe, you would probably start developing a God complex and all this stuff, which is, again, like, it's something we see with people who gain too much power, like, and they just go crazy because it's like the value of things just goes away, and it's like you can't live a life anymore. It's just always wanting more and more and more, and there never will be more, right? Like, it gets to a point where you can't sustain it anymore. I mean, like monetary immortality, I guess I'll call it. Like, you can't like, monetary immortality is such a thing where you can't monetary immortality is a thing that exists, I think. And this is kind of really what I wanted to talk about. And no one watches these anyway, so at this point in the podcast, I won't get into trouble for what I say. The billionaires won't come for me. But I think monetary immortality is a very real thing currently, and it's becoming a huge issue that's causing a lot of crazy things to happen in our world and stuff like that, and I want to talk about it. So yeah, it essentially just connects to regular, like, the immortality I've been talking about, in that, like, you just lose grasp of reality. When you get that much money, like, money is objectively power over other people, because the world revolves around money and currency. And when you gain that much money, that's just stuff, that's liquid power, it's literal power, like, it's physical power, right? And I guess it's not physical anymore, but you know what I mean. And so you immediately get disconnected from reality, as the same way as if you were able to live forever, right? And things start to lose their value almost instantly, right? If you grew up having McDonald's and it tasting so good and everything because, it was a special treat, or, it was a special occasion to eat out or whatever, like, that's gone, because you can get whatever you want at it whenever you can get whatever you want whenever you want it. And then it just extends past there. Like, you can see every corner of the planet so quickly. Okay, I'm done that. You can buy every fancy thing that ever existed, or anything you were passionate about before. You can have everything that related to it. You have unlimited time now. Like, exactly the same way as if you live forever. If you have monetary immortality, you literally just have time. You just get more time, and you technically live like 4 times as long as the average person now. And again, you just keep separating yourself from reality. Even if you're not intending to, you just separate yourself. You just get pushed away even more from people who live a normal life, the average life. And what comes with the average life is a lot of morals, because you learn from other people around you, and you learn from experiences, and those experiences are gone. Like, the only thing you experience is the desire for new experiences, right? If you have monetary immortality. And like, that's what we're encountering right now. Like, these people who have way too much money and they want more money, or they've lost their purpose because they have so much money and they're trying to find a purpose. And when you get to that height, like I said, you get disconnected from reality and the people around you. So people around you or under you are just ants. Like, they don't exist to you. They're not a real thing. So you interfere in elections, and you like buy companies because you can, and you do all this crazy stupid things, thinking that, like, deluding yourself into thinking you're changing the world, but you're just a bad influence on the people, just because. But you do it because it's fun, because it's something new, it's a new field, it's a new thing to conquer and tackle, and that's where we're at. There's a lot of people with monetary immortality, and it's scary. It's scary, it's hard when you can be controlled by these people, and they can do whatever they want, essentially. But in a way, you have to pity them a bit, because, like, at the end of their life, they'll look back and, like, what did they see, right? What did they do? Did they actually have an impact on their own life that they were proud of? Like, I guess they would, though, like, because their brain is mush at that point, like, they're proud of the fact that they did all these horrible things, but to them, they're good things, Oh, I made this much money, this number, oh, that's great. Or I had this many employees, or my buildings were this big, or I built this thing, or whatever. It doesn't matter in a lifelong sense, I mean, there's so many movies, like, and stuff, and entertainment, like, pretending to try to gain sympathy for these people. Oh, I never loved anybody, all this stuff. And it's like, that was your choice. That was your choice to do that, to do all those things. Like, we always have a choice. Always, man. Almost always there is a choice in most things. And you made the choice to pursue those things instead of having a normal life and experiencing the normal life, because at the end of the day, like, just like immortality, like, when you disconnect yourself like that, like, you just lose your mind. Like, you lose everything, your sense of everything. And I just genuinely think, like, there's no greater purpose, in my opinion. I hope there is, but I don't think there is, unless you get super religious. Like, unless you have a religion and believe in a religion, then there's no purpose. There's no greater purpose in the universe and life. So once you get disconnected from any sense of purpose, like waking up and going to work and making enough money and finding a partner and having kids, and that's like the average purpose, like, that's not what my purpose is. Personally, I have a purpose in my life that I believe in and want for myself. And I will, if I eventually get it, though, I will have to find a new one, but I don't know if I'll ever get it. And that's probably better for my brain, so it doesn't break apart and collapse, because we have to want unattainable things, because, or else you just have nothing to look forward to ever. Nothing. So when you can have everything that's unattainable, then you just go crazy. And I genuinely just think then that the monetary immortality is eventually going to turn into, like, legit immortality. With the way modern medicine is going and all these breakthroughs we're making, like, the average age is just going to get longer and longer, and these people are going to have access to it first. The people who have the money, right? They're going to have access to it first, and they're going to take advantage of that. They're going to keep it away from people as long as they can. Oh my God, here comes the odds. Sorry. They're going to keep it away from people as long as they can, and for no reason, right? Just to do it because they can, right? And like that's like, I've had this idea lately for a story that I really want to write about, like, there's always corporate dystopias and stuff like that, but like one where, like, these billionaires, like, never die. These people who are in power never die. Like you always, like whenever in history there's a shitty like dictator or whatever, it's always like, okay, they're gonna die, but what if they don't? What if they just don't die? And that's a scary thought. You're just stuck with them forever. Like nothing changes. They're just there eternally and you cannot do anything about it. And that's a horrifying prospect. But again, then, like at the end of the day, they would not get the last laugh because you're just stuck. Like, what do you do eventually? Like, what are you supposed to do eventually? Like, it's like if you train your whole life to be a professional like jump roper and you train your whole life, you train 10 years to beat the world record of 532 jumps in a minute or something ridiculous. You train all that time and you do it. Then what? That was the only thing you did. You spent all that time on it, then you do it. Then what? Okay, you move on to a new thing. Like, it won't be the same, right? And that's the problem with like any sort of immortality. It's like, if you achieve something like and you move on, but it will eventually end, And before it ends, you'll also start to realize like, what is the point? What am I doing? Like, no, I can't do this, If I start an intergalactic empire and I start taking over random planets, like, and I'm halfway through the galaxy, it's like, what am I doing? Like, what is the point of this? I'm done. Like, and I love comparing this to video games because like it's such a thing that translates to life is gaming and video games and the amount of time certain people play games. But I think a good majority of people who let's say there's a lot of open world games, right? And there's so much to do. There's like the main story and then there's now millions of side quests, right? The percentage of people that complete all of that, the side quests, is very small. Like it's probably in the 0.0, right? But also the percentage of people that even complete the main quests are small because people pick up a game, they play it, and they get the gist of it. And yeah, if the gameplay is super fun, they stay for longer, but eventually you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna put this down. I'm done with this, right? And you put it down and you move on to the next thing. And like, I just think that's how it would be, man, if you were immortal in any way. You just keep going, you keep doing things, you keep trying to achieve your goal, and then you either achieve it or before you achieve it, you're like, I'm done with this. Okay, I'll move on to the next thing. But what if there's no next thing? What if you don't have the passion and everything to do it? Like, I don't think the human mind can deal with that. Like, at all. We're not some higher being, At the base level, we're animals, and like animals need a purpose in life, right? Like, and it's objectively, at least mentally, easier to be an animal. Like, just literally wake up. I have to wake up, eat, and breathe. That's all I have to do. Like, objectively, that's way easier than thinking about your purpose and trying to find what you want to do and all this stuff. Like, so many of us now are plagued with that problem, with desiring to find a purpose in life and do something great for ourselves and all these things. And it's just like it keeps us distracted from the fact that we're gonna die, and that like it keeps us distracted from the fact that we'll have no real impact at all, no matter what we do. Even if you become the most famous person of the world, it's just in your era. Like, you're gonna go away. It's just like, I don't know. I wonder if I'm becoming more nihilistic, because it sounds like that, but like, I don't necessarily have a negative input, like thoughts about it, about life not really having a purpose. Like, if anything, it's kind of more comforting to me, because like the only reason I would want to live forever is if like the person I love could live forever too. Other than that, like, I don't want to live in a world without them, like there's no point, to me at least. And even the things I love like would lose their meaning, It just overexposure in general to anything is it's bad for your brain. It just like everything loses its meaning, and you just go crazy. I mean, like, it's like there was an experiment they did with rats or mice, I think. I don't know when it was, but they essentially they put like rats in they put these rats I don't know why I said it like that. They put them in this like perfect simulation or perfect environment, right? There was no predators, there was unlimited food, and they could breed and expand freely, right? And like the population exploded, but then eventually, like, they just went crazy. Like some of them were just running around in circles. Then they began to start just killing each other for no reason. Like they went crazy because there was no point. Like it was just like, okay, every day is the same. Fuck. Like even animals experience that, and it'd be the same situation if one person could live forever. Everyone could. There's just no point. There's no consequence. There's no nothing. Like it's just such a weird thing to wrap your head around, because like our monkey brains can't understand it. Like it's impossible to understand. I'm trying to understand. Like, please let me understand. Because like at a base instinctual level, I don't want to die. Like I don't want to die. I'm fine with the concept of dying, but in the moment, I'm like, I don't want to die, man. I want to keep living. I want to go eat delicious food, or see the people I love, or play more video games, or do more stuff. And it's like, it's just an instinct to not want to die, right? But then how much of our free will is instinct or not, right? Like that's another thing. Like, how much of our existence and consciousness is actually free will, or is like just an internal instinct that we've evolved over the years, right? Like it's just crazy, man. Like humanity is just like wild. It's crazy we made it this far. It was pure luck. I mean, it's pure luck that we even exist. And I kind of hope we don't discover immortality, because it would just be a nightmare for all parties involved. The people who create it and the people who decide to be immortal. Like, I don't know, you would just run out of things, man, and that's just a nightmare. Like a personal anecdote that like makes me think, like, is the reason I think of this a lot. There's a game I play called Total War Warhammer, and you're basically taking over the world, right? And like once you reach a certain point of territory and army strength and all this stuff, it's like you just stop wanting to play. It's like, okay, I get it. I'm gonna go to this city, I'm gonna take it, and I'm gonna battle, I'm gonna take it again. Okay, what's next? And it just keeps going. There's no challenge, there's nothing new. And like without that, there's just no point to anything. And it's just, again, that's just how it is, That's just how it would be and how it is, and it's just not a good thing. I don't think immortality is a good thing, and would be a good thing for anyone. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I just wonder why, like, I want to be in the mind of someone who wants to live forever, like someone who doesn't want to die. I mean, like, okay, I'll try to put my shoes, my feet in someone else's shoes. Is that the saying? I don't know. Who cares? But like, I could understand a scientist wanting to live forever. Someone who's literally like a scientist, like super invested in science, because there's so many things to discover, right? And so many things we don't know. And you would find out so many things like that we don't know, and you would figure a lot of things out, and that would be cool. There is value in that, but like, I don't know, like, would you not, like, because if you're a scientist, you're very intelligent most of the time, and so you would probably start to think introspectively eventually, and would be like, man, like, I'm stuck like this. Yeah, there's more to discover, but when does it end? Is it still exciting the whole time? I don't know, like, but then, like, I guess someone who just generally enjoys life, like, would just be fine with being immortal, like, they wouldn't mind. I guess, fuck. I don't know, I guess generally the sentiment is, like, you want to live forever, right? You do. But, I don't know, I guess also, like, here's another scenario, too, that I've thought about, like, existence on Earth, at least, is natural selection, right? Like, the strongest survive, or the ones who are the most resilient survive and continue their genes and their traits and all that stuff onward. And let's say in 500 years everyone can live forever, right? We've reversed aging, all that stuff. Like, there's no death, at least naturally, probably. There would probably be a natural selection of a certain type of person who didn't want to live, right? Because obviously, like, in that time when they figured out immortality, there would be a way out. If you didn't want to live forever, there would have to be, So, like, I think there would be a sort of natural selection in terms of, like, who wants to stay alive the longest and, like, reproduce and stuff. Like, there's a lot of people who generally don't enjoy life. Like, at a passive base level in their brains, they just cannot enjoy life. And, like, they would probably choose not to live forever, right? And that would kind of be a natural selection in its own way. So then after that, would you just have every single person who's born just wants to live forever? I don't know. Like, it's hard to... you can't determine it, obviously. It's hard to determine. Obviously, it's hard to determine. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. But, like, yeah, I guess you would have a natural selection in a way of people who just decide not to live, and the people who want to live forever. But then, like, wouldn't human civilization stagnate? Because, like, the reason we live is because we die. So wouldn't the civilization just, like, stagnate like crazy? It would just stop developing. It would just, like, wouldn't it cease to exist? Like, how excited can you be for every day if you live forever? I don't know. It's tough, guys. I don't know. I can't wrap my head around it. I really can't. It just I guess I'm a pessimist, maybe, because I just, like, think too far ahead in the grand scheme of it all. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be awful, because eventually you would start to go, there'd be no point, right? But at the beginning, it'd probably be pretty sick. You'd be like, oh, I'm not gonna die. I can do all this stuff. But yeah, I'm starting to yawn more. At the beginning, like, it would be great, but maybe later it wouldn't be. But I don't know. I guess I'm just, like, I'm not in the mindset to live forever. I'd be the one to do natural selection. I just would be like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. But what would, like, a world without death even look like? Like, at that point, we would be very technologically advanced. If we're talking about it realistically as you can. Like, at that point, we would be very, very technologically advanced. So much so that we're probably spacefaring, because, like, if everyone can live forever, then, like, the Earth is going to overpopulate in, like, 3 minutes. But would it, though? Because would people still be having kids, right? Like, a lot of people have kids to, like, what's it called? Satiate that instinctual desire to procreate and create more people and further the bloodline and everything. But if the bloodline is never going to end because you're never going to die, then do you even have kids, right? Do you even reproduce anymore? So I don't even know, like, would the birth rates just sky dip? What's the opposite of skyrocket? Would they just plummet? Sky dip. Damn, I could go for sky dip right now, bro. Sheesh. Give me the Skyrim, give me the fucking Skyrim sequel, Sky Dip, and it's just like we all think it's in the Elder Scrolls 6, but it's just like a collaboration with, like, Chip Dip in Skyrim. That'd be kind of lit. But, like, I think the birth rates would just drop, I guess, because no one's gonna have children. Like, fuck. It's all a web. It's all a complicated web that interweaves and connects way too much, and it's really confusing to try to explain and understand. Like, but, like, there's a possibility, I guess. So then the birth rate stops, and then would it be like the rat theory, where we all just die out either by killing each other, or we just stop living because it's like, okay, well, we're done. But if the population does explode because of just the lack of death, right? Like the birth to death rate is what? Like, someone dies every like, what, 14 seconds or something, and then, like, someone's born every 12. Like, it's just like we're having more people than we're losing all the time. But if we're not losing any people, that number, like, almost doubles, right? So in terms of, like, the people being born, because then you're not losing as many people, right? So then, like, obviously we'd have to leave Earth and just expand like crazy fast. Because also, like, I guess if everyone lives forever, then space travel is like a breeze. Space travel is like a walk in the park, because you just don't die. So you can just, like, okay, the journey is going to take, like, 80 years. Okay, have fun. And you just go. And you get put into stasis or whatever. You just sit there and you wait till you get there. Like, I guess space travel would fucking explode, because you just need more space for that many people. and just humanity would just expand forever. And I don't know. I guess there's two sides of the coin, right? Like it, and there's no way of knowing which would be true, which is kind of cool. Like on one hand, humanity, the pessimistic view is like humanity. We stop giving birth and having people. We stop making more people because there's no point. Because like, okay, well, like I'm gonna live forever, so I don't need to continue myself, right? And then the flip side is like, okay, like, yeah, humanity, let's expand. Like, I want to have children because I want to have another person with me that I guess will live forever too, right? And it would just go forever. But man, that would be such a nightmare, like logistically, because like, how does the dating world work? How does like I guess in this far future, none of this stuff would matter probably, like, because I can't even comprehend how a society would work. But like, let's like humor me for a second about how this would actually work. So like relationships, how does that work? How do you meet someone? Like, what is the age gaps that are acceptable? Like, like in my opinion, and it's insane that this has to be an opinion, but like, the person you're with should probably not be a child, and their brain should probably be fully developed before you end up with them. Like there should not be a massive gap in maturity, right? Like a 30-year-old dating a 40-year-old, that's cool. That makes sense. But like it gets weird when it's a 20-year-old dating a 30-year-old, because the maturity is different, the life experience is very different. But then if you're living forever, like obviously it would be weird for a 20-year-old to date a 30-year-old in that time too. But then how much weirder would it be if a 20-year-old dated like a 100-year-old? And then would it be fine then for like a 100-year-old to date like a 500-year-old? Because like the life experience like caps. I guess like life experience kind of caps. Like it ends. Like you get to a certain point where you've done everything. So like I guess after you get to like 50, it wouldn't matter anymore. Like, cause like what else is there to do, right? Like most of our early life is like why it's important for age gaps to exist and protecting people who are young is that like so much of your development is irreversibly done at those ages, that like if they're interfered with in any way, it can have long lasting consequences to your health, your mental health, everything. So like, but it has a cap, I guess. Like once you get to a certain point, then I guess it's like chill, I guess dating would be fucking crazy. Like, bro, like what, you just like you're like a casual 50-year-old and you meet someone who's like 660 and you get along great, even though the generational gap would be like infinite. Like right? Like what would you even talk about? Like, you joke about it now, right? You hear about people like dating someone that's like 70 when they're 20, and it's like, what do you even talk about? What do you have in common? Like, nothing, right? But it would just be exacerbated by the age, like the immortality. Like it'd be like, what do you talk, like someone that was born 500 years before you, what do you talk about? Like you, I guess, how would you navigate that? Would you try not to talk about things like that would make them feel old? Like, or would you ask about it? Would you be curious about it? In this society, would being old, I guess it would be a status symbol, right? Living that long or being born in that time, like you would be, oh, what was it like at this time? And they would just like yap on about how it was. I don't know, guys. I burped. I don't know if you heard that. That's funny, but I don't know. It's just like, it's already so complicated already as it is, and that would just make it even more crazy. But yeah, and then like, how would like entertainment and sports work? Like would the same person just play and be the best of all? Like, would there be a greatest of all time? Like literally, it just doesn't get better than them. If they just kept playing and they stayed in their prime forever, like, But I guess it'd be kind of sick though, because like, at least for like sports, you would have like, there'd be teams of people from every era that were the greatest. And you'd have no more fucking debates on TikTok about who's actually the greatest of all time out of these three, because they would literally be playing against each other and you would know. Like, that would be kind of cool. Like, you would get those what if scenarios actually happening and their reality. Like, I can kind of get behind that. That would be sick. Like, could you imagine like Muhammad Ali fighting like Mike Tyson or something like that, or like God, I'm so bad at sports. I don't know any names. Like, or like how much of a slaughter it would be if Babe Ruth played against like Otani or something like that. Like, it'd be cool because you would be able to see the progression in the sport and the skill and everything, which, like, that is kind of badass. And also, like, in this society, like, obviously science would just, like, that would be cool, just to discover things constantly, and it would never end. Like, we would probably, like, I mean, I wonder how long it would take for us to understand the universe, you know, and everything. Like, because we would in this positive version, the non-nihilistic version, like, you know, you would expand out so fast, and the amount of people would grow, so there'd be more people to discover things, and it would just keep going exponentially forever until you found everything, I guess, right? Like, would we discover what caused the Big Bang, or why the Big Bang happened, and like all these mysteries that we don't understand? Like, I guess you'd solve them, and it would be pretty cool to find out how all that stuff worked. Which is, yeah, I guess that's another kind of big positive there, which would be cool. But like, also a negative about this super positive future is like war. Like, would wars just go on forever? Like, you know, like, if there is war, like is there, like, how does the draft work? Like, you know, would it be like 100 year and under get drafted, or like would it just go up? Because, you know, if you're always in your prime or always living forever, like, would you be fighting with a 500-year-old or whatever? And I guess, like, what would the level of a warrior be? Like, what would the level of someone who's that skilled be? That's kind of crazy to think about, like, how strong someone could get, like, over just that many years. But there's also is like genetic and physical caps, right? Like, if we're staying completely naturalist and there's no, you know, cybernetic enhancements and all that stuff, like, how strong can someone get? I guess we'd be able to find out, like, because there's no primes anymore, you know. You don't really you just don't lose anything, you just keep going. So what peaks would we get to? I guess we would, like, reach the cap of human potential eventually, which is kind of wild to think about. Just being the best of the best as you possibly can as a person, just over years and years and years. But then coming back to the nihilistic side to end it off, like, you know, how would you maintain the drive to do that? Like, how in this super unrealistic positive timeline, like, why would you wake up every morning and decide, like, I want to be good at this? Like, because you would just, like, there's no reason to do it, because, like, you're not going to run out of time. Wouldn't you just procrastinate forever? And even if you didn't procrastinate forever, like, you would achieve it, and, like, what do you do after that? You know, because also at the same time, you're probably going to be replaced, like in stuff like at least in sports, but in everything, like, genetic and just, like, random chance might make you a little bit better at certain things, but then someone would come along that's even better, you know? So how would you have any motivation to do anything at all? Like, I don't think you would. I really just don't think you would, man. Like, everyone would just kind of be in their own little world and their own little reality, doing what they like. But, like, you just run out of things to like, because there's so much. But then when there's infinite time, it's nothing. Like, infinity makes everything nothing. Like, I mean, that's what, like, on a cosmic level, that's what's going to happen to the universe. Like, as far as we know so far, like, the universe will keep expanding, and it will eventually make everything nothing. Like, because everything's just so far apart. Because infinity is infinite, and if you expand infinitely, then there's nothing left to do, and there's nothing left at all, and it just loses its meaning. So, I don't know, guys. I guess at the bottom line, this is a very rambly episode. I don't even know if this is good, but I'm happy with it. But, like, at the bottom line, just, like, you know, don't be immortal. I don't think it's a good idea. I hope that billionaires don't become immortal and just control our lives forever. That would be nice if they don't. Yeah, I do pity people with everything, though, because you would lose grasp of reality and you would die probably sad, because there's just you live the life of no purpose. And that's really, really tough to deal with, I think. So yeah, guys, I don't know. If a wizard comes up to you with a magic potion that says you can live forever, maybe consider it for a bit before doing it. But like, we're in the years where they say that, like, you know, we'll live to 150 or whatever, and if we do, that's great. You know, more life is always good. Currently, I do want to live more life. I'm happy to live more life. I just don't know if I want to live forever. So maybe rethink it a bit, guys. I hope this made you think. You know, I think it would be cool if it made you think more about life and meaning and what it would be like to lose that meaning by not being able to die. So yeah, guys. I hope you enjoyed this commute. I hope you had a safe one. If you're listening to this from the year 3000 and you're 800 years old, hope everything turned out great. I hope it's the positive future, that everything's great and lovely and dandy. But even that's probably an illusion just created to keep you going. So yeah. But yeah, we made it to about 45 minutes. I think I'm going to cut it here, guys. Again, I hope you have a really safe commute, whether you're biking, busing, or in a car, or walking even, whatever you got to do for your commute. I hope it's safe. And if you're not commuting, just relax, take a load off, enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, I will see you guys next week. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. And yeah, ciao, guys.